Hello and welcome back to another episode of Kaluno playing Satisfactory. In this episode, we are going to take a look at my central storage input side from my previous base. So as you can see, I have these belts over here. I believe there's 6 of them, taking a culmination of everything from my old central storage area here in my BAB 4, and basically kind of combining them all down and putting them into the train station. So as you can see here, it's kind of taking everything in little bits. And this all runs across the ceiling in the old base. That way there, if I want to come over here, I can still walk around and still do things. But all of this gets transported over here into the train station section, where it then funnels down into some of these industrial storage containers, and then over into the train storage, or the platform storage. So the reason I have it doing this is because when a train comes over here, I'll show you a little bit later in the video, but when a train comes over here, it'll grab a bunch of these items and stop actually filling the train storage. So these industrial storage containers act as kind of like a buffer. What'll happen is the train will come in, load up from the freight carts in there, and then these industrial storage containers will start to fill up. But because they have 2 outputs and only 1 input, they'll refill the train platform or freight station quicker than they can fill themselves. So all the items will kind of rush from the industrial storage container over into the platform until the industrial storage container is empty again, or once this system kind of overfills, these industrial storage containers will get full as well. And as you can see, I have different items in each one of these. I kind of wasn't explaining which one has what, but the last 2 here are mainly steel beam, steel pipe, and plastic and rubber. And I kind of kept these 2 by themselves because I produce more of these at this base than anything else. The other items I kind of tended to just throw together. You know, if it's something that only stacks in 50, if it's something that I only make like 6 parts of, like my heavy modular frames, they all kind of got through into one belt. And so I think there's some of these belts have 4 different items, some of the belts only have 2. But we're gonna go ahead and get this thing rolling, and that way there we'll see kind of how it fills up. Alright, and as you can see, it's taking the inventory from those freight platforms and it's moving it over to the train. I actually kind of really like this animation. I mean, it takes about 20 seconds to go through, but I just think it kind of looks cool. And it actually looks even cooler when the train already has a car on it. The game knows, and it actually ends up taking like the entire box and lifting it up over the train car and dropping it in. As you can see here, this is what I was explaining, that these industrial storage is filled up, and now they're filling up the platform quicker than they're getting filled up themselves. Alright, so let's go ahead and add in the central storage to our automation here and have our train start rolling toward our central storage. Oh, and here's that other animation as well. It's gonna pick up the entire container and bring it over, and then it like drops it on top for a second to fill up the freight car, and then it goes back. Real quick, as we're riding over to the central storage, I said it in my previous video, I'm shooting for trying to get 500 subscribers on this channel. So if you guys could leave a like, go ahead and subscribe. And if you know anybody that likes this type of content, please feel free to share this content with them. I try to do weekly uploads to this channel with a Satisfactory video. Usually that video comes out either on a Sunday or a Monday. I tend to play during the week, record, and then edit on the weekend. Which You guys have helped out tremendously so far. I believe when I started doing these videos, I was around like 80 subscribers, and now I'm getting pretty darn close to 150 subscribers, which is phenomenal. I can't thank you guys enough. Here we go. We're going to be taking this train all the way over to the central storage area. I did want to say, if we can get to 500 subscribers, I did want to do a giveaway when we hit that milestone. So I do have some ideas in mind for what that's going to be. I'm thinking as we get closer to, say, 400 subscribers, I will kind of mention what that's going to be and kind of hammer out the rest of the details. I still need to kind of figure out that. That's mainly why I don't want to say it too soon, is I just want to make sure that I can get the giveaway done the way I want to. That way there, when I give the information for it, I don't have to go back and say it again if something changes. It should just be exactly what the giveaway is, and we'll go from there. If we can get to 500 subscribers, then we'll go ahead and do that giveaway. Alrighty, and as we're approaching the central storage here, I am going to hop out of the train a little bit beforehand and then cut over to the storage side of it. That way there we can see the train pulling in and filling up the station. So here it is. It's at the central storage station. It's now going to lift these containers and drop them into the boxes, so the reverse of what it just did on the other side. And then this thing should come to life. And there it goes. Alright, so this isn't probably the most efficient setup for getting the items over here. However, I wasn't necessarily looking for the most efficient way. I was kind of looking for the most aesthetically pleasing setup and something that I can continuously fill with items where it'll sort it out for me. I only have 2 inputs, so it's not like I have to worry about putting in a bunch of things. Actually, this isn't working right here. That's all set correctly. Oh, okay, I see what I did. Alright, now that that belt's there, this whole thing should be working again. But yeah, so I didn't want this storage to be something that was overly complicated where I had to make sure I was putting certain items in certain areas. I kind of wanted it to be kind of foolproof, where you can have a train pull up, drop off whatever you have. If it's something that I need in my storage, it'll take it. If it's not, it'll take it over and basically dump it into the awesome sink. And as you can see here, I'm just kind of showing off the area as this train is unloading, different items getting sorted out into their respectable containers. We'll close up that wall and we'll take a look over here. So as you can see, these containers are basically full, and that's because, or not full, but they're filling up because they're taking everything out of the freight platforms and dumping them into the industrial storage containers. As you can see, our train is on its way back over to the BAB 4. Yep, next stop BAB 4. So it's on the way back over to the BAB 4. It's going to go there, grab another load, and then come back this way. And the reason I put these industrial storage containers here as well is to kind of do like a pre-sort of it, hopefully. Like, that was kind of my mentality, is as an item gets put into the storage container, they kind of stack on top of each other, and I was hoping it would kind of give out more of the same item in a row rather than just a mix of every item. But it doesn't work exactly that way, and that's okay. Now, as this is filling up, we should start seeing items coming out on the front of these belts as well. Ah, here we go. There's some computers, some cable, some copper sheets. We have some heavy modular frames. We have some plates and rods. And it's a slow trickle right now. So the nice thing about this storage is you constantly have a trickle of items coming in. So yeah, you might deplete an entire storage container on this top portion, but then you'll have an industrial storage container down below to fill this container back up for you. And then in the meantime, as the train is going back to the central, or to the BAB4, from the central storage, it'll take everything that it has currently, fill up the top container. If you run out, when the train goes back, it'll grab more, and then it'll just refill. I've never emptied an entire container unless it was steel beams and steel pipe when I was doing trains, but then usually I have excess that I come back and will dump into the one container that sorts it all back out into these containers, so I don't really end up losing anything. The only other thing that I've emptied quite a bit of is computers. I tend to empty out like an entire row or two, but having that industrial storage container down below with 6 rows or 48 inventory slots means I basically won't run out of them anytime soon, at least. Alright, and jumping ahead here, most of these things are starting to fill up, so we're now actually getting a throughput over into the Awesome Sink. And the cool thing about this is I'll have to go over to the train, and I had sorted some of the items. I'll go over to the train and show you what happens if I use like a higher ticket value item. But you can see here, like I got to 281,000 coupon tickets per minute for a brief blip. I've also gained about 16 coupons since this thing went online, which is phenomenal. I need to go find more hard drives as well. I like constantly having a hard drive in the MAM, kind of finding those new recipes, those alternate recipes. I never get tired of that view. The view of the roof of this industrial storage facility, as well as this train, it looks awesome. Alright, so over here you can see that I press the sort button on a lot of these just to kind of help send a lot of the same item through at one time. It was also so that I could empty out a lot of the screws that I had in there and the quick wire. Alright, so over here with the computers, we're going to put them down in the bottom so they get taken out first, and then we'll go see how many coupon tickets or coupon points we can accumulate here per minute with these going through, because my computers in the central storage area are actually full, so it should put in quite a bit of them. Also, hint, if anyone saw my inventory, they might know what's coming in the next video. Even though I'm going to tell you here at the end of this video, you might be able to take a guess at this point. Alright, so as we can see, those computers are coming over here and getting spit out over into the overflow line. They're going to travel all the way around the room here and out here, and now they're flowing into our Awesome Sinks. So it's going to take just a minute for these to register exactly how many points per minute we're going to be accumulating. So we'll give it just a minute here. And I love watching this thing in action. I could sit here all day and watch this thing sort all the materials coming in. Alright. So 1.19 million points per minute is what we jumped up to. And now that happens quite often, especially since I have heavy modular frames and computers going into this storage system all the time. Yeah, it's going to run lower and lower as my storage depletes from the BAB4, but it's still a decent amount of points that I'm constantly generating. Alrighty, so over here where we're going to be continuing the new base called the BAB5, this is going to be the starting platform for that. However, since I'm kind of running out of power and I don't like the fuel generators where I had them, I'm starting to build this over here. So this will be in the future video. It's going to be a multi-part video. We are going to end up building multiple rings of fuel generators. To power that, I have the recipes now for turbo fuel. So we're going to be making a turbo fuel refinery section, as well as the multiple rings of fuel generators to take the turbo fuel. So back there in that section, we're going to end up building the refineries, and it's going to come out this way into these rings somehow, and then we'll have around 148 fuel generators, if I'm not mistaken, with the math I have. So if you guys are on Reddit, you may actually see some glimpses of this, and you might actually see some sneak peeks of what this is going to be looking like in the future. But I think for right now, we're going to leave it where it's at, and this is going to be me signing off. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share my video. Remember, we're trying to get to 500 subscribers for that giveaway. This is going to be Kaluno Gaming signing off. Have a good day.